Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is May 31st, and a lot of big things happened this week, but no bigger than Angel Hernandez retiring. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today? The last day of May is upon us. Last day for any player to improve for the player of the month. That will be happening next week. Still recovering from this sickness. Still a little bit of a stuffy nose, but we're feeling much better than we did last week, and that is the plus here. We've got a lot to talk about today. A lot of good things happening. A lot of interesting conversations that need to happen. So with that being said, let's already dive into our series recap. Leading us off, we have the A's at the Rays. All this game needed was one big blast off of the bat of Big Gal Andujar for his first this year, as his 3-run home run were the only runs in this one. Oakland gets the job done. They take care of the opener, beat the Rays 3-0. After a saving the game with an amazing catch, Jose Siri would do one better and end it as he delivers with the walk-off single to win it in the 9th. The Rays walk off the series and even it up 4-3. Robert Match was looking the Rays' way with early home runs from Isaac Paredes and Jose Siri, but one from Shea Langelaris gave Oakland the lead, one that looked secure as Mason Miller came out of the pen. However, Jose Siri would get to him and crush his second home run of the game to tie it in the 9th. And hands Miller his first blown save of his career. It sends it to extras where after both teams score a run in the 10th, we would wait until the 12th before Richie Palacios would come up big with the walk-off single as the Rays, after losing the first game, win 2 back-to-back games, both on walk-off singles. The Rays take care of business. They win 2 of 3, and they win it 6-5. Red Sox and Orioles now hello and goodbye as Baltimore scored 5 runs in the 4th, added 4 more in the 7th, and they had scored 11 straight runs. All thing O's in the opener here as they take it 11-3. Boston, though, would get some revenge in Game 2 as Wilyer Abreu and Rob Refsnyder both go deep. The Red Sox able to hold the O's to just 3 runs as they get the win to even up the series 8-3. Baltimore has another 5-run inning in this series thanks to Gunnar Henderson and his second inning grand slam, as his now league-leading 18th home run puts the O's up. They would never be back down. Baltimore takes 2 of 3. They win it 6-1. Blue Jays and White Sox now. The Blue Jays get home run happy as George Springer, Bo Bichette, and Davis Schneider all go deep in the Blue Jays win. They get the first game 5-1. It's a new day, but the same outcome as Toronto had 2 3-run innings. Davis Schneider was 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs, helping lead his Jays past the White Sox again 7-2. A closer game than the first 2, but with a 3-run lead entering the 9th, the White Sox can only get a solo shot from Corey Lee as the White Sox get rocked at home for a second straight series. The Blue Jays get the sweep and set their eyes at home for their City Connect debut. They take it 3-1. Pirates and Tigers now with rain on Tuesday. This 2-game set was all played on one day, Wednesday, and for the first game it was all Tigers as Tarek Skubal continues to shove, looking for his potential AL Cy Young top voting there. The Tigers score 3 in the first, add 4 in the 5th with Matt Vierling going deep. The Tigers take the first game easily 8-0. On to the second game with Paul Skeens on the mound, and look who it is, Andrew McCutcheon hitting a home run on a Skeens start. That's happened now all 4 times. Nick Gonzalez also homers. The Pirates win this game and split the 2-game set with the Tigers. Pirates take it 10-2. Royals and Twins now for a 4-game set. The Twins get a couple of home runs from Jose Miranda and Trevor Lenarge. Rays score 4 in the 9th, looking for a late comeback, but Johan Duran comes in and closes the door. The Twins hang on and win the first of 4. They take it 6-5. The Twins tag Cole Riggins with 3 runs early here as Simon Woods Richardson and the Twins pen holds the Royals to only 5 hits. The Twins take another one 4-2. Seth Lugo continues his dominance for the Royals with another great start as Nelson Velasquez homers twice in this one and is joined by Salvador Perez as the Royals get a game in the series. They win it 6-1. The Royals took an early lead back behind home runs from Vinny Pasquantino and MJ Melendez, but the Twins came roaring back, scoring 7 unanswered runs, being led by Ryan Jeffers, who hit 2 home runs to help the Twins get the win. They get a huge series win, taking 3 of 4 from the Royals. They win the last game 7-6. Yankees and Angels now here, as Soto got the Yankees started in this series, his 15th home run of the year, but the Angels came back in this one with Pilar hitting his 6th of the year, and then in the 8th, Taylor Ward hit a 2-run double as the Angels would take the lead on that. Carlos Estevez gets the save, and the Angels win the opener, beating the Yankees 4-3. Alex Verdugo homers in this one as Luis Gil shoves again for New York. He gives up only 2 hits on 8 innings of work. The Yankees still win a close one. They even up the series, win it 2-1. And for the final one, Logan O'Hoppe hits his 2nd home run of the series. But after that, it was really all New York as Judge goes deep, which later leads to a 5-run 7th inning, with Soto getting a bases-clearing triple for 3 more runs. The Yankees, they win the rubber match and take 2 of 3 in this series. They win it 8-3. Astros and Mariners now, and it's a big 4-game series between these two. And it would start with Seattle getting 3 runs in the first and using their pitching to keep the Astros below 2 runs, and it worked as Bryce Miller and the Mariners pen hold the Astros from taking the lead, and that first inning was enough for Seattle as they win it 3-2. Down too late, the Mariners need to turn things around, and they did in the 8th by scoring 3 runs to take the lead as Ryan Presley blows it for the Astros. The Mariners take the first 2 games of the series. They win it 4-2. A pitcher's duel for the 3rd game between Justin Verlander and George Kirby as the Mariners tied the game at 1 in the 5th with a Dominic Canzone home run, and it would stay that way until extras, where in the 10th inning, the Mariners get what they were looking for, a run, as J.P. Crawford gets the sac fly to score the run to walk off the game. The Mariners stay hot. They win a 3rd straight game in the series, beat the Astros 2-1. And for the conclusion, Spencer Arrigati, with his best start of his career, comes up in a crucial game for the Astros and he gets help from Alex Bregman and Victor Carantini. The Astros get a much-needed win after dropping the first 3 in the series. Although it's a very successful series for the Mariners, who take 3 of 4 and keep the Astros in the basement, although they did get shut out in the last game. Astros win 4-0. D-backs at Rangers now. The rematch is here from the World Series from the winning Texas Rangers and the losing Arizona Diamondbacks. Corey Seager reminds them of who he is with a go-ahead 3-run home run in the 5th. As his crazy home run streak continues, the Rangers end up with the win as they beat them 4-2. And it's another game and another Corey Seager home run as he is up to 13 now on the year. I'm pretty sure he has 8 home runs in 8 games. He is crazy right now. The Rangers score 6 unanswered. They take both games in the 2-game set. They sweep the D-backs and win it 6-1. Dodgers and Mets now. Rain causes a doubleheader on Tuesday, and in the first game, down 1 in the 9th, the Dodgers needed an answer, and they got one from the unlikely player in Chris Taylor, who has been struggling hard this year, but regardless, comes up huge with the RBI single to tie the game up, sending us to extras where the Dodgers come up and score 3 runs in the 10th, 2 of which coming from Freddie Freeman's 6th home run of the year. The Dodgers get the comeback win once again via the Mets losing. They take the opener 5-2. Gavin Stone shoves, and Will Smith and Miguel Vargas both hit home runs. For Vargas, it's his first of the year. The Dodgers take another game, sweep the doubleheader 3-0. And for the last game here, Will Smith would start the scoring in this one with another home run. We were tied up and headed to the 8th before Will Smith hits a third home run in the series, his second of the game, and that started an onslaught as the Dodgers added 5 more runs in the inning for a total of 6. Jorge Lopez ended up getting tossed out of this game, and as he was walking off, tossed his gloves into the crowd, and he had some things to say after this game. We'll get into that. The Dodgers sweep the Mets. They win this last game 10-3. Nationals and Braves now, and they open up the Nats open up this series with 4 runs in the first, and that leads to a total of 8 unanswered runs in this game. CJ Abrams hits his 9th home run of the year. The Braves get going in the end, but it was too little too late as the Nationals take the first of 4. They win it 8-4. As Max Fried goes 8 shutout innings in the next game, Marcell Ozuna hits his 16th home run of the year. The Braves are able to win this one. They even up the series, taking it 2-0. Third game, Lane Thomas gets it started with a 3-run home run in the 5th. That gets the Nats the lead, and one they would not give up as they end up taking the third game to beat the Braves 7-2. And then the Nats get 3 quick runs in the third as Trevor Williams and the Nats bullpen holds the Braves to only 1 run. The Nationals surprise everyone, really. They take 3 of 4 from the Braves, and they win that last game as well, 3-1. Very shocking. The Cardinals and the Reds now here, as all the runs in the opener here were scored in the first 2 innings, as each team gets a solo shot. Paul Goldschmidt in the first, and then Yaimer Candelario in the bottom of the first. But in the second, the Reds get 2 more runs on a single and fielder's choice. Reds pitchers hold the Cardinals after the first inning home run. The Reds take the first game, win it 3-1. The second game, Nolan Arenado and Nolan Gorman, the Nolan brothers, they're not brothers, both go deep in the game. The Cardinals get to Abbott for 6 runs and end up with the win to even the series 7-1. And in the rubber match now, it start with Matt Carpenter hitting his first home run of the year and first back as a Cardinal. Nolan Gorman homers again in this series, and his home run was actually the difference in this game. The Cardinals win it, take 2 of 3 from the Reds, and beat them 5-3. We now have the big series here. Cubs at Brewers, a huge 4-game set between the first and second seed teams in the NL Central. It's a good series for the Cubs. If they have a good series, the Cubs could close the gap on the Brewers, but if the Brewers have a good series, they could pull away for first place in that division. And of course, Craig Counsell back in Milwaukee as he gets booed by the Brewers fans who hold animosity for him leaving for their rivals over the off-season here. So a lot of good storylines to keep track of in this series. And for the first game, we were treated to a pitcher's duel between Justin Steele and Robert Gasser, as no runs were scored until the 8th. But once we got to that 8th, the Brewers opened it up with 5 runs in the inning. Willie Adames hits a 3-run home run, and this one is Milwaukee as they take the first game 5-1. How about Ben Brown? He throws 7 no-hit innings in this one, while Freddie Peralta strikes out 11 in 5 2/3. However, gave up a home run to Michael Busch. It would stay 1-0 Cubs until the 9th, when Willie Adames came up huge again, getting the single to tie the game up. That sends us to extras, but all he really did was delay the faith, as the Cubs scored 5 runs in the 10th to blow this one open. They win it and even up the series 6-3. Shota Imanaga now on the mound for Game 3, and I can only assume that the Brewers were only preparing for this guy and this guy alone because they got him good and early. Christian Yelich hits a 2-run home run in the first, and then the Brewers add 5 more runs in the third as Blake Perkins goes deep for the first time. And for the first time in his MLB career, Shota Imanaga gives up more than 2 runs in a start. He gives up 7 runs and gets his first loss loss on the year and as a major leaguer. The Brewers all over this one. They win it 10-6. And then in the final game, the Cubs hit 3 home runs from Cody Bellinger, Seiya Suzuki, and Christopher Morel. Suzuki and Morel's home runs were game-tying shots, but after every home run the Cubs hit, the Brewers were right back to applying pressure and trying to score more runs. And that's what they did. And in the bottom of the 8th, with the game tied, Gary Sanchez crushed the 2-run home run for his 7th of the year, giving the Brewers the lead that they would hold on to. They get revenge against their former manager. They take 3 of 4, extending their lead in the NL Central against the Cubs, and they win that last game 6-4. Good stuff from Milwaukee there. Guardians and Rockies now. The Rockies changed this game with 1 inning. They entered the 4th down 3. They scored 6 runs with the help of a Charlie Blackmon home run, and from there they held off the Guardians and win the first game of the series 8-6. Jose Ramirez, David Fry, and Josh Naylor all hit home runs in this one. Josh Naylor, he hits 2 of them, and those 4 Guardian home runs helped pave the path for the Guardians as they win and even up the series 13-7. And in the final game, the Rockies once again in the series have a big inning as they score 6 runs in the second with the help of Brendan Rodgers' second home run of the year. The Rockies, surprise, surprise, in the rubber match, take it. They win the series, take 2 of 3 against the Guardians, and beat them 7-4. Marlins and Padres now. Donovan Solano hits his first home run of the year with the Padres. Jazz Chisholm ties the game with a solo shot for his 8th of the year, and then a bases-loaded walk to Cronenworth gave the Padres the lead, and that would be all, folks. The Padres take the opener. They win it 2-1. Mr. Irrelevant, Jurickson Profar hits his 8th home run of the year, drives in 3 in the game, and then Waldron, Peralta, and Estrada shut out the Marlins. And how about Jeremiah Estrada, who, as a reliever, has struck out the last 13 batters he's faced over the course of 3 games. What a record for him. What a stretch. The Padres win this game 4-0. And for the final game, the Marlins score in 6 of the 9 innings in this one. This last game was for the fans. Jesus Sanchez homers. The Marlins avoid the sweep to the Padres, and they win the game 9-1. Lastly, here we have the Phillies at the Giants. Some back and forth in this game as an early lead for the Giants was erased with 4 unanswered runs from the Phillies, but that lead didn't last long as the Giants then scored 5 unanswered and retook the lead, one that they would hold on to as the Giants take the opener, win it 8-4. And for the second game, we had some goose eggs through 9, so needed extras, and it only took 1 run as the Giants got the sac fly they needed from Luis Matos in the 10th. They win this game and walk off the Phillies, handing them another loss. And for the Phillies, it's the first time since September of last year that they've lost 3 straight games. Crazy when you really think about it. They lose this one 1-0. And for the final, they were going to make sure it wasn't 4 straight losses as Kyle Schwarber hits a leadoff Schwarber bomb in this one in the first to start things off for the Phillies, already with the lead, and they stayed in the lead for the whole 2 hours and 38 minutes in this game. We would have a bench clearing after Kyle Harrison threw 2 up-and-in pitches back-to-back to Bryce Harper, and after cooler heads prevailed, Nicholas Castellanos was right there with a 2-run home run, because of course he did. The Phillies win it, they avoid the sweep to the Giants, and they take the last game 6-1. Alright, now for our game of the week, I'm taking you to the big series here between the Brewers and Cubs, and what a job Milwaukee did handling Shota Imanaga here on Wednesday. Bottom of the first, a 2-run home run from Christian Yelich in the first leads things off, his 6th of the year. The Cubs were right there though. Ian Happ hits home run number 5 on the year to make it 2-1, and then the bottom of the third comes, and this is where things get ugly. Willy Adames, he singles in a run. Gary Sanchez doubles in 2 to make it 5-1, and then Blake Perkins hits the 2-run home run to make it 7-1. his fifth of the year, a 5-run inning, and that's pretty much Sota's night at that point. The Cubs, though, did try to get something a little bit rolling here. Top four, Dansby Swanson, he'll ground out, a run will score to make it 7-2. Then in the top of the fifth, Cody Bellinger, he's out on a fielder's choice, but another run comes in to score, and then the bases loaded hit by pitch to Patrick Wisdom makes it 7-4, only a 3-run game. But then in the bottom of the seventh, Christian Yelich, he'll ground out to score a run, and then Willy Adames hits another home run in this series, a 2-run shot, his 9th of the year, made it 10-4 Milwaukee. Top of the 9, Cubs tried to mount something. Christopher Morel reaches on an error, and then Ian Happ a sac fly. 2 runs will score off of the error and the sac fly. That makes it 10-6, and that would be your final as the Brewers win it. They took 3 or 4 this series. This one was game 3, so it helped put them back in the lead. They beat the Cubs in the game of the week, 10-6 Milwaukee. Alrighty, now let's dive into the baseball news here. So much to talk about. We're going to start with the Jorge Lopez situation because I find that one pretty interesting here. On Wednesday afternoon, Jorge Lopez was ejected and threw his glove into the crowd. So obviously not the most professional thing to do, in baseball in general. Like, that's not what you do, kind of. And, obviously things have not gone the Mets' way at all this year, and that can be understandable to say the least. They have been, a bad team, and you can't really pinpoint anything because they have good players on the team. But already, losses this year in games they led after 7 innings. The Mets have 9 of them, and the next team after that is Detroit with 6. So the Mets lose late inning games. The bullpen's been tough. Edwin Diaz hasn't been himself from 2 years ago. And Jorge Lopez, of course, a part of that. He hasn't had much better, moments either. And just wasn't having it. He then was, obviously, interviewed at the end of this game. And this is where things can get kind of clippy and weird by the media. Jorge Lopez obviously speaks English a little bit, but it is his second language. When you listen to him talk, if you watch the interview he did, as an English-speaking person, you understand what he's saying, but there are a few kind of like close, condensed words, some things that maybe he's thinking he's trying to get off, but really is coming off a different way. There was no interpreter with him there. Obviously, he doesn't need one always, but depending on the severity of what he's talking about, I think it'd be more important to have it. The Mets should have provided, Lopez with that interpreter for those interviews. The comments he basically was saying was that, the Mets effing are bad, and that was kind of what he was saying, was that they suck. He was not happy to be there. That was kind of what the gist of the comments were. He says, I think I've been on the worst team in probably the whole effing MLB. That was what was said, and how, if you listen back to the interview, that's how it comes across as well. Obviously, that's not acceptable at all for any team. You can't just go out there and bash your team like like he did there. Mets manager Carlos Mendoza addresses that. He says, we have standards here, and that's kind of what it is. Obviously, the Mets have a tough year. He then classified the next day after getting DFA'd, which, kind of everyone saw coming, but he gets DFA'd. He's no longer with the Mets, essentially. He came out with a comment saying he apologized to his teammates, coaches, fans, front office, basically the whole apology thing, and then said that it was misinterpreted by the media, and that he said that he wasn't saying the Mets were the worst. He was saying he was the worst teammate, and instead it sounded like he said the worst team. He was trying to say he was the worst effing teammate of the MLB, like he just felt like he wasn't holding his own type of thing, and instead we caught the word team. The media ran with it, saying that the Mets are in shambles, because that's so much easier for the media to do and to get clicks on and to get success out of that. So the whole thing obviously is really unfortunate. And of course, Jorge Lopez has had a really unfortunate kind of, year and a bit here. Last year, he was with the Twins and he was placed on the mental health list at one point in the season, take a few days off and kind of correct himself. I did some digging. Jorge Lopez has a son who is currently on a transplant list waiting for that. So obviously, things aren't 100% right with him mentally there, having to do with that. And of course, looking back at last year, of course, that doesn't excuse the actions that he had and for throwing his glove into the fans, on Wednesday. But at the same time, too, I think that the Mets should have done more here to help him instead of being so quick to get rid of him after the comments. They should have been there while he was dealing with the comments, while, making sure that nothing was even remotely said like that in the first place. The Mets should have done something there. The whole situation is quite unfortunate because it looks the Mets. It makes the Mets look bad, is what I'm trying to say there. And then obviously right now, Jorge Lopez is out of a job. So hopefully some team, will want to get him and bring him into their bullpen because he's not a bad pitcher. He's had a tough stretch of things recently, but obviously, it's going to be difficult after those comments. So who knows, though, Jorge Lopez might be able to get himself into a job. But just wanted to talk about that really quickly here to start. Tough situation there. All right, last night on Thursday here, the Blue Jays officially debuted their City Connect jerseys, or they officially released that, and they're debuting them tonight against their series opener here against the Pirates, a game that I will be going to, actually, so I'll get to enjoy these Toronto City Connects for the first time. And there was a leak that came out. People were hesitant on it. And actually, after seeing the photos, seeing how they look, it seemed like the overall reaction from fans, obviously Warriors fans loved them, some of the Toronto fans, but even across MLB, that these are one of the better City Connects, especially this year. I'd put them on the ranks of Tampa and Philly. They're easily top 3 this year for me. Obviously, they're going to have a little bit more of a special attachment for me, obviously being from Toronto, but I think it looks really good. I think they're in the top 10 for sure. They're definitely not my favorite, surprisingly, but, I still think it looks great. The waterfront thing, the waterfront thing that they have at the bottom there is really cool. I like the bold they have. They went for more of the Toronto nightlife vibes, which I think, is on par with our city. So yeah, very happy with these jerseys. The hats is what people I see mostly complaining about. They're not the biggest fans of the hats, but even I think the hats are okay in my books. I like them a lot. So Blue Jays City Connects are here. They'll debut them tonight. And only 2 more left this year, the Dodgers and the Twins, and then all the City Connects will be released. I believe the Dodgers and Twins are both going to happen in the month of June here. Some good stuff there for those teams. But Blue Jays get theirs today. Moving on, over the week here, it was official that the Negro League statistics and stats, they were officially integrated into the MLB record books. So, combining the Negro Leagues with the Major League Baseball, really cool stuff there. And it goes to show you how good some of these players were, specifically Josh Gibson. Because with the integration, he is now the all-time MLB leader in average, OPS, and slugging. His average of 372 passes Ty Cobb's 367. His career OPS of 1.177 passes Babe Ruth 1.164. And then his career slugging passes Babe Ruth 7.718 over Babe Ruth's 690. So really cool stuff there, and it's obviously not him. You can go through some of the all-time greats from the Negro Leagues, guys like Buck Leonard, and obviously the pitchers as well. Satchel Paige is definitely going to be one of the greats now. So it was a really cool thing that happened. Definitely wanted to touch upon that really quickly there. It helps showcase how good some of these players were. Like Josh Gibson now leading the league in all-time and a couple of those stats like that. Goes to show how impressive things were. So good stuff there. So just want to mention that quickly. And then we're going to save the best for last here and talk about Angel Hernandez officially retiring from baseball. This is news that long was coming and that brought baseball fans and fans of sports together to talk about this, and this has been absolutely amazing news. Listen, I like umpires. I obviously I don't want to sound like I bash the guys, obviously, but Angel Hernandez was bad for the game, and that is my opinion of it. Joe West, who was a manager who had his own issues, when he was umpiring, he came out and said that, like him or not, he did a good job. That is debatable, because when you go through it, and I'm sure if anyone who's on like sports social media at all, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, etc., after this news, it's been people just like loving it and posting all of the worst mistakes of his career. And like, this is the thing though, like yes, there's just so many of them. How can you be this bad? You have articles being written about the top 10 worst calls of his career type thing. Remember ALDS Game 3? I have it up here, October 8th, 2018. 3 blown calls in the ALDS. And he was at first. He wasn't even behind the plate. He was just wrongfully looking at the safe and out calls. Awful stuff there. Of course, he was the umpire that got Kyle Schwarber to go berserk on Sunday Night Baseball between the Phillies and Brewers, saying that he was awful for both sides. He went crazy, Schwarber did in that game. Last year, he ejected Bryce Harper at the end of the season for a check swing call that was definitely checked, and he still called him out on it. It's just been, one thing after another. He ejected Lance Lynn in spring training this year. You can go through and watch hundreds of missed calls by Angel Hernandez, and, yes, he had his moments of success, sure, and I'm sure he was a nice guy. Aaron Boone, he made some comments saying that, there were some calls that were bad of his. Boone thinks that there's worse MLB umpires in the league and said that, he's generally just a good guy. And maybe he is. I'm sure he is actually just a nice guy. But when you watch him on TV at any game, you see the strike zone, you see the ball end up so far outside the plate, and that he's just there to call it strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, whatever it is. He calls it, and he was just so bad towards the end here over the last couple of years. He came out with a little tweet comment basically saying that his first game was in 1991. It's been a childhood dream. So many great moments that he got to be a part of, and goals the game has gone through, including the expansion and promotion of minorities in the game. And he is proud that he was able to be active in that. He wants to spend more time with his family. Basically, any reason for someone to retire. And, good for him, and I'm happy for him for his retirement. I hope he has, he's able to spend that time with his family and gets to enjoy his the days of his life here. But no, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be good for baseball without him in it. Maybe he was better, when he first started off, but these recent years have just been hard to watch. You see him behind the dish, and you just know it's going to be a long day for both teams. The other thing I want to mention here now is with Angel Hernandez retiring, it is kind of bittersweet, because now we don't have that guy anymore to be like, oh, Angel Hernandez is into the game kind of thing. So we need a new umpire, and I would like to volunteer and nominate C.B. Buckner, because I'll tell you right now, there's no one I think is worse umpire besides Angel Hernandez than C.B. Buckner. In my opinion, Buckner's taken over for the worst MLB umpire. That was the funny thing, too, I saw, actually, when I first heard about the news, I went to Instagram and Twitter, obviously, and it was already okay, guys, who's now the worst umpire? And, there was a good debate going on there. And for me, personally, I would say C.B. Buckner. But, yeah, some bittersweet news there. Angel Hernandez, no longer an MLB umpire. What are you guys' thoughts on that? But, yeah, tough one there, so bye-bye. All right, now let's dive into the injury updates here. You got a nice, well, not a nice list, but it's a big list, unfortunately, here. Edwin Diaz has been placed on the IL with shoulder impingement, so a little interesting one there. Alek Manoah, he left the game in his start in the second with right elbow discomfort. Zach Gallen left his game after only 6 pitches with a hamstring injury, so those two guys will wait and see. Gallen most likely on the IL. AJ Minter on the IL with hip inflammation. Kerry Carpenter lands on it with some back inflammation. Lamont Wade Jr. has a strained hamstring. He's expected to miss at least 4 weeks. Tyler O'Neill with some knee inflammation. Evan Carter on the IL with lower back tightness. And then Jorge Polanco lands on it with a strained hamstring as well. So a couple of strained hamstrings, a couple of inflammations to certain parts. But that is your injury updates there. Moving on, we have our outstanding performances here and a strong list for the week here. Starts off with Joe Ryan, 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, an earned run, no walks, 9 Ks. Robert Gasser, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 7 Ks. Justin Steele, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 8 Ks. Tyler McGill, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 9 Ks. Jake Irvin, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts for him. Max Reed, 8 innings pitched, 7 hits, no earned runs, a walk, 6 Ks. Gavin Stone, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 7 Ks. Ben Brown, 7 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 10 Ks. Zach Wheeler, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 9 Ks. How about Matt Waldron, the knuckleballer, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 8 Ks. Tarek Skubal, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, a walk, 8 Ks. Christopher Sanchez, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, a walk, 7 Ks. Paul Skeens, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 9 Ks. George Kirby, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, an earned run, no walks, 8 Ks. Justin Verlander, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 9 Ks. Luis Gil, 8 innings pitched, 2 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, and 9 Ks. And last but not least, Spencer Arrigati, his best start of his career, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, and 8 Ks. That is your outstanding performances there. Moving on, we have our stat leaderboard and a couple of changes here actually. Now leading the league in average. It's tied between Luis Arias and Mookie Betts with 332. Luis Arias still leads it in hits with 78. Home runs, we now have a 3-way tie. Gunnar Henderson, Aaron Judge, and Kyle Tucker lead the league with 18 big flies there. RBIs, it's for the longest time it's been Marcell Ozuna. I think for the last, since we started doing these after the first episode, it's been Marcell Ozuna since. No longer the case. Jose Ramirez takes that over. 56 RBIs for him. Bobby Witt Jr. still leads the league in runs with 49. Aaron Judge in walks at 45. Ellie De La Cruz still leads the league in steals, even though he didn't add to it. He is still at 31. Then Aaron Judge now leads with OPS, a 1.020. For wins, it's now a 2-way tie. Ranger Suarez is still there, and joining him is Seth Lugo, who now, with Shota Eminaga getting beat up and giving up 7 runs, is also leading the league in ERA. He has it, Seth Lugo, 1.72. That is so impressive for him. Who would have thought it'd be Seth Lugo leading the league in ERA at the end of May, essentially. Tyler Glasnow leads the league still in Ks with 95, and then Ryan Helsley is officially alone now at the top for saves with 18, and part of the reason why the Cardinals have been, picking up the pace a little bit as of late. Upcoming series now for the weekend here. Of course, the Blue Jays are debuting their City Connects at home. The Pirates are coming into town. Pirates at Blue Jays there. Rays at Oilers. That's a fun matchup there. Tigers at Red Sox. Padres at Royals. That seems like a really fun matchup with Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha, former Padres. Probably some of them are slated to start, hopefully. Nationals at Guardians, Twins at Astros, Angels at Mariners, A's at Braves, Rangers at Marlins, D-backs at Mets, Cardinals at Phillies, White Sox at Brewers, Reds at Cubs, Rockies at Dodgers, and we round things off with the Yankees at the Giants there for your upcoming series for the weekend here. And nothing left else to do here but dive into our playoff predictor. Right now, the Twins in the 6th seed taking on the Mariners in the 3 seed. Seattle wins that. And then the Royals in the 5 and the Baltimore in the 4. The Oilers will win that. So our ALDS matchups here. The O's at the Yankees and the Mariners at the Guardians. The Mariners take the win and so do the Yankees. So our ALCS matchup is your Seattle Mariners at your New York Yankees, in which the Yankees win that. For the NL side of things, Padres in the 6th seed taking on the Brewers at the 3, Giants at the 5 seed. Yeah, the Giants now, no longer Cubs. San Francisco enters the mix here, taking on the Braves in the 4 seed. And it's the Braves and the Brewers that get past the Giants and Padres. They head to the NLDS. Braves at Phillies. We know how that matchup goes. Phillies win that. And then Brewers at Dodgers, and the Dodgers take that one as well. The 1 and 2 seed here, Dodgers at Phillies, and it's the Phillies that get their way to the World Series here. So we have a couple of 1 seed, the 1-seeded Yankees, the 1-seeded Phillies, both of these teams with 39 wins right now. Which of them will be the first to 40, or will they both win today and both end up at 40? Either way, Yankees at Phillies, it's your Philadelphia Phillies that are your 2024 World Series champions. If playoffs started today, essentially. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us here today. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Nothing much to say. The outros are kind of just small little, hey, thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Try to go out and catch a baseball game if if your team of choice is in town. Get out to a ballpark, enjoy some of this nice weather. Hopefully you're having some nice weather. Hopefully things are going well for you guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you, everybody, so much. And I will see you on Monday.